you have questions, yeah, please ask. I've got a flow, so I'll try and keep to that, and I'll try and answer as where we can. But if not, I'm sure we can catch up another time. Like Kira said, I've got 60 minutes to show you and give you a flavour, really a taste of what business intelligence can provide in organisations. I'm going to go through different examples around this and explain a little bit about that as well. Standard disclaimer, doesn't mean what I'm going to say is a good lie, it's just certain things like futures. If I talk about futures, don't make buying decisions based upon that because things can change, but everything is good to know. So, simple agenda, overview, demonstration and summary. I'll get simpler than that. So to start off, data, as we know, is all around us. The internet of everything, that machines are generating more data than ever before. I find this incredible. Facebook 10 years ago didn't exist. Now it's like 1 billion users. Data doubling every 18 months, gigabyte, terabytes, whatever the byte is. It's just massive in terms of its size and quantity. The key to this though is the data and information around us we need to harness, we need to make use of in some form. And there's a term coined here by a chap called Clive Humby. Anyone people know Clive Humby? It's from the Dunnhumby organisation. So Dunnhumby, I think they still do, he sold it to Tesco's, where they do basket analysis, they do analysis on buying patterns for the superstore. And it coined this term, and it actually came from somewhere else. It came from the Getty family. So Mark Getty, from the oil family, when they sold the Getty oil to Texaco, he realised, well, what should I do? What shall I make money out of? And he realised out there that over the last 100 or so years, people were making money out of extracting natural resources, making money out of oil, of coal, and all the rest of it. And he realised that actually, in the future, making money out of intellectual property is where it's going to be. And that's where he set up Getty Pictures. So if you see a picture in a newspaper, it's a little logo, Getty Pictures, see it on the website all the time. A lot of money just on that business alone. Great business model. But the key there is the intellectual property being the money maker there. And this is where Clive Humby coined that term. The data, the intellectual property, the information, that is the new oil of today. And certainly in organisations today, that's what we need to tap into to get the most out of it. And it's how we tap into that business intelligence and predictive solutions really come to help in that area. In organisations today, typically business intelligence probably accounts for about 10% of the people in the organisation. That's 10% having tools and capability to do something with. Gartner recognised, actually probably best practice, we're looking at about 60% of people in the organisation should have access and do something with business intelligence. And so you see that. Come 2020, predictions are around about 70-80% of people will have and expect to use business intelligence in some form to do their job more effectively, more efficiently, to make more use out of it. And that's where really business intelligence can help. Today's organisations, and I'm not speaking in particular, but from my experience, so I've worked in the business intelligence market for a number of years. I work mainly with banking and insurance companies. I certainly find that IT, where the systems are kept and the business users, they get provided with some sort of intelligence, some sort of reporting, some sort of capability, but it tends to be from that system, and then another tool to get it from that system, and a different tool to get it from that system. Oh, by the way, Kira, can you export that information to Excel and then send me from that system? That's not really giving business intelligence to organisations. If organisations are after a single version of the truth from all those different data sources, organisations need an umbrella, a foundation, a single version of an enterprise business intelligence tool to help deliver that. That's what business intelligence is all about. Bringing together information from disparate sources, bring it together so that multiple different groups can work on it, use it, share it, collaborate with it, do stuff with that to make the organisation better, whatever that stuff may be. And business intelligence provides this umbrella of information, sharing, collaboration, information out of sales, marketing, finance, wherever that information is coming from. So business intelligence has evolved, and it's evolved quite a lot over the last 20 or so years. This is a chart showing here user experience from pretty much nil to, yeah, loads of stuff going on there, to maturity of analytics, again going from pretty poor to very mature. Some organisations have this completely nailed, some don't. In terms of analytics and business intelligence, we started off with raw data. Data out of a database. We then clean that data, people put it into spreadsheets, and actually some of the names aren't correct here, I'll change and alter that data. Some of the numbers aren't correct here, so I'll just apply a weighting or just alter those numbers as well. And then kind of moved into standard reports. So standard reports being, of course, a report showing me as a user, my key performance indicators as of last month. How am I performing against my HR performance statistics and things like that. Information delivered in a pre-formatted, predefined manner. Where it then starts to move into ad hoc reporting. I, as a user, that was great as information, but I wanted to play around with that information myself. Try and change some of that information. Just take the data in that form and just filter it maybe, drill into it, and so forth. Then evolves into self-service business intelligence, where users say, give me the data, and I want to then play around with that data and start to look at what's termed agile visualization, to be able to look at different patterns in the data, trends in the data, start to understand a bit more insight by visualizing that data in many different ways. And it starts to move into other areas, generic predictive analysis. That sales looks interesting, but what is the trend like? What is the forecast like? What we call time series data to understand what the sales is going to be like in the next 6 to 12 months. And then moving into predictive modeling to then understand, well, if the sales is going to be like that in the next 6 to 12 months, what are the key factors, what are the key characteristics in our data, in our behaviour as an organisation that's going to help achieve that? So let's use modelling tools to understand more about our organisation and more about our data so that we can then achieve those sales. And then going into optimisation, where we're actually embedding some of this intelligence into operational systems so that I can pull up a report and understand about customers leaving and understand why they're leaving. And maybe capture those customers before they leave, just in time, offer them something that they're going to stay with as an organisation for. And these can be grouped into 3 areas. So they're kind of the what happened of business intelligence, where I'm just presenting a report, some information about what's happened in the past, what's happened now in terms of information, to tools and capability that help me understand why did it happen. So that's self-service. Yeah, give me the data and let me explore it and understand how and why these things happen. So then moving into an area of understanding more about what will happen. What is the probability of this happening again and again and again? So those are the key areas is what I'm going to concentrate the demonstration. And I've mapped those into a picture that illustrates our product suite, the SAP Business Office Business Intelligence Suite. Now, core to this, of course, is delivering this on your key platform of information, budgeting, planning and consolidation information. It's very key to delivering this information because that's where the data is coming from. Tools are useless without the information. So this sits very neatly on top of that information and allows you to deliver that out to your key users. But also, if I then map in the key areas I'm going to focus on in the demonstration, agile visualization, advanced analytics, and business intelligence, from an enterprise perspective, we're also then saying, bring in data from the cloud, big data, allow us to use it via mobile devices. Let me collaborate with my colleagues so that when I see the sales dipping, I can actually circle something and say, what's the problem here, guys? Where's the context behind that information? Show it to me, give it to me, and apply some meaning to that data. More importantly, we start to see an emergence of, yes, bringing these separate data sources together, budgeting, planning, consolidation, bring it together with my marketing data, with my sales data, so I can really understand the costs that we put into doing that marketing campaign. Did it reap the right results in sales? More importantly, did we target the right people? The propensity for someone to use our marketing campaign and our literature, did that translate into the sales that we expected? And bringing that together, into a real-time platform. And this is where we're certainly seeing business intelligence emerging more away from data that's probably in the data warehouses for months, years, but also now taking data out of operational systems as it happens today, as it happens this second, and allowing users to do analysis on that data straight away. And this faster real-time access to information is now at the forefront of something what we show and deliver in terms of business intelligence. But what does that actually mean? So we talk about real-time, we talk about getting faster access to information, and I thought about this, and it's pretty abstract. I'll show you a demo where I click on a report and it shows real-time information. And you can say, well, of course it is. It's a demo. It's going to show you that, and you don't know how fast it is. You know, real-time. It's all a bit of a blur. So I'm going to try and use an analogy here. I hope it's not. But to try and get across how organisations use business intelligence today in certain cases, but also how it's moved on. So, does anyone recognise what one of these is?
Is that Sinclair Spectrum? This is ZX Spectrum.
It is a Sinclair ZX Spectrum. Thank you, my plant at the back. If it was silent, that would have helped.
Is it the 16K model or the...
No, it's a good question. It's a full 48K model. Now, for those who don't know it is a computer. I showed this to some interns, 20-something-year-old interns, and they said, "That's a great keyboard for my iPad. How do I connect it in?" And that just made me feel so old. Because this was my childhood toy. This was great. As a computer, it was amazing at the time. It sold millions, in the millions. And the amazing thing is, you used something like this. A cassette player. It's very retro now. And you put one of these in, a cassette, to basically load data and applications into the computer. And once you've done that, it was great. You could play these fantastic games. I even told my dad I could do my homework on it. Did I do my homework? No, of course I never. I always played the games. But you could do your applications. And of course, at the time, this was fantastic. Graphics, the processing power to do this via a calculator, it just, surpassed that. But of course, time's moved on. Movement in terms of this capability to now where we are with something like this is just, it's a different world now. Now I have an iPad, and the new norm today, instead of waiting 15 to 20 minutes for an application to load into what is 48K of memory, and if you consider an average photograph is about 4,000K of memory compared to 48K. How many photographs do you run on your PC? That's incredible. If you look at that in terms of the information where we've moved on. Nowadays, the norm is to open up my iPad, tap on something, and it's there instantly. Instant access to the application, instant access to the information. And that's what we talk about with business intelligence today. We see organisations, I see organisations where the sales figures have come in. It's going to take another couple of weeks before we can get it processed and into the systems, then into the reports, and oh no, I want to work on that now. That's like working in the ZX Spectrum world. While I'm waiting, that time, that effort for that time, for that data to come through. So I'm going to work in the iPad world where it's there instantly. And that's where business intelligence is moving. And that's where this solution capability is moving. And that's what we talk about real time. Moving away from organisations that take time to get that information and to deliver that out to users where we're now living in the iPad world. There is an app on here that actually loads ZX Spectrum games, and the incredible thing is it's got 100 games on a single app, where it would take me a whole weekend to load those. But the other statistic as well about this, you could fit 160,000 of these into one of these. So, something to think about. But yeah, really moved on, of course, in terms of the real-time, getting access to more detailed, granular information and doing something with it. So let's go in and show you a demonstration. I'm going to start off with the what happened style approach, and that's delivering what we term enterprise business intelligence to your users. Delivering reports in a variety of formats, showing you kind of like a rear view mirror aspect of the world. What happened last week, last month, last quarter? What's happened just now in terms of the information? Use cases for this are immense in an organisation. All your user community, whether you're a global organisation or not, everyone will require some form of information in some kind of format. Being able to then have this centrally stored so that users can access and pick and choose as and when they want to. And delivering it in a timely and consistent manner from trusted data sources, having it scheduled on a regular basis. So when I come into the office, open up my email, there's a link there showing me my sales figures. Click on that link, it takes me to the relevant report showing me the relevant information at exactly the right time. That's what enterprise business intelligence is all about to deliver. So let me show you some examples. And these are a variety of examples. I'm going to talk about specific products here. I'm just going to give you a flavour and a taster of how these things are used. This is a view of my information. I'm a CFO and I just want key information relevant to me. I want to see my key metrics across all my global operations. I want to see trend information, what's going up, what's going down, and I want it in a nice and easy to use format. And that's what this tool and capability is all about, delivering it in a simple to use format. I don't want to be messing about with instructions and training. I just want to go in and start looking at this data. So if I want to look at my business performance, I can just click on that tab there and it takes me to the relevant view. The data's already there, it's presented for me. It's showing me the key information. If I want to look at that for a particular region, so in this case, look at it for EMEA, I just tap on the EMEA tab, NEAR, Asia Pacific, the information around that changes according to where I'm viewing, and it's showing me relevant information here. Nothing around this is defocusing me. I'm not being presented with a tool, a capability that I have to start playing and making it up myself and trying to work out where things go and copy and paste this information here and I've got the right figures. Now I don't have time for that or waste time for that. But this capability is more than just presenting it for the CFOs. It's about delivering information in a focused manner to your users. They don't have to be CFOs, managers, they could be in the operations. It's about focusing the content and the data to their actions and their operations. What am I going to need to use to do my job effectively? And it's like a business intelligence application that we deliver into the end user. Great thing about this is though, while I'm doing this, I was in PowerPoint. I was sent that document as a PowerPoint slide, and now I'm presenting it to my colleagues in a PowerPoint format. I don't need to know about what business intelligence is. My business intelligence has been embedded inside a PowerPoint slide. And that's another big thing that's coming along in the business intelligence world. Again, making it easy to use and get it easier for users to access that information. For certain users, great, embed it inside the slideshow. And when I open up the slideshow, it's interactive, it's usable, it's loaded the data, it's linked back to the data source. Another example, great example, is Nomura Bank, on the investment bank side. They use dashboarding capability on the trading and trading floor for their trading managers. And the key point here is about how easy it is to access. A trading floor is a very busy place. Traders have no time other than to make money for the bank. And trading management want to make sure that traders are doing the right thing. And what they're looking for are behavioural patterns in traders, what they do, so they avoid a rogue trader. Nomura doesn't want to be in the list of banks that owe the SEC and the regulators billions of pounds of money. They want to stay out of that. That's not very good at all for the bank. So this is a dashboard and a solution that enables trading management to understand how many traders in their team aren't doing the right thing. So they're not doing the right training courses. They're not taking 10 days holiday every quarter or whatever the right thing is to do for that trade. They're not trading out of hours when they shouldn't be. They're not using systems at midnight when they shouldn't be in the office at that time. So these show KPIs for the managers to understand how the teams are performing and to understand about that behavioural pattern. And the great thing about this is, again, I think, okay, it's SAP. I just want to go to my portal that I use for other things in Nomura, click on a link and see my information. It's completely embedded inside that, so it's so easy to use. I just go to my link, there's my view. And as a trading manager, I'm now seeing information that's relevant to me. I don't see other teams' performance, I only see my traders. So it's securing the data, again, without me knowing and without me caring about it, but just give me the right information. And if I want to select a particular key risk indicator or look at it right down to trader level, again, I've got that ability to do that. So this is where Enterprise BI is embedding inside the organisation's infrastructure. And you can deliver this to your partners, to your suppliers. deliver that valuable information, and maybe make them pay for it as well. It's also about providing consistent and trusted reporting. Whereas there's often the case that I'm looking for a sales pipeline and I want it on Monday, so there's an army of people on the Friday, Thursday and Wednesday in Excel, copy and paste information out, a few smiles there, and it gets then delivered on a Monday, and someone comes to me and says, hold on, these figures aren't right. Where do you cut and paste this from? It becomes a nightmare. And you want to do that on a weekly basis. So Enterprise Business Intelligence allows you to put together reports that get run off those databases from the source system, no cutting and pasting, nothing that's prone to error. I've copied C2 instead of C3, we're going to get the wrong figures, it's going to be horrible. It's always going to run at the right time, off the databases where you know the information, the right information is coming from. And it's going to deliver a clear, consistent view of that information all the time, because it's scheduled all the time. And just to give you a flavour how this looks, I'm logging into a central portal to access my information, accessing it via the web browser. There's a report pack here that I can open up. There's a little dashboard in there, I don't know if you noticed, that is my home page, and I'm part of customer analytics. I'll always see what's going on with my customer analytics. But it's this report pack I'm really interested in. So I'm going to open it up. As it opens up, it's grabbing the data. It's doing this in real time. Putting together the relevant data and delivering me a report pack. Very nice, glossy look and feel. And probably this goes out to 50 or 60 of those managers in the organisation, delivering that consistent business intelligence. Here, I've got a view showing me some banking information. So I'm looking at different industry sectors that we've invested in and lent money out to, and looking at the risk factor associated with those particular investments and lending, and I'm showing it graphically here. Now at this point, I've got some red alerters, something that's not quite happening. So I've got rules embedded inside this. The great thing is it's repeatable. Every week this happens, every day this happens, every quarter this report is run to give me this information. I don't have to waste time pulling it together or get that offshore team to bring that Excel data together. It's there delivered consistently for me. If I want to drill into the banking sector and understand how we're performing from a regional perspective, I just drill into that data, just into the table. It clicks down, the graph automatically changes for me. As I want to drill into EMEA, drill into that even further and go to the lowest level of information to help me do my job. It's doing that, following my train of thought as I go through within this. Now, I can't change this report. I'm not the right user for that. There is a design option in here, and of course the users that can change the report, it's a really easy to use front-end interface to enable me to do that. But for me as a user, this is giving me exactly what I want. I don't want to mess about creating my own reports. Here I've got some options to filter the data. So rather than looking at all risk industries and all risk categories, I just want to look at the industries in risk category 1. Let's filter the data and just show that information. Let's look at other ways of presenting this information. And I can present this in a variety of formats, in PDF documents, via web pages, via emails, publishing out to users in a whole variety of mechanisms, making sure that, as I say, delivering the information in a clear, consistent manner. And there's some capability here that's just designed for how users interact with this type of data. So here I've got a report, and we use this capability inside SAP. So we track sales pipeline, we look at who's increasing what sales pipeline on a weekly basis, daily basis, certain levels. But in operations here, certainly help the people with the weekly view. And to do that weekly view, which salesmen have got which pipeline changes, they would export the information from Excel from these 3 or 4 sources, merge the data with a copy and paste nightmare, loads of functions, and 3 hours later we had a full picture of all our sales team in the organisation. Well, now they use this tool, Web Intelligence, and there's a capability inside here that allows them to compare one view against another view. So here in a single click I can go to a view and say, actually compare what I've got now, refresh it against what happened last week. So what it'll do, basically take the data and just map one on top of the other. And say to me, in red, that's the data that's increased. In green, that's what's increased. In red, that's what's decreased. Anything with a strikeout, that's disappeared from the data now. Anything that's been bold, highlighted, that's now appeared in the data. I have to guess so Scotland isn't an area that's got a strikeout. Keep pointing out that I save those users hours every week. Instead of 3 or 4 hours cobbling that together, they press one button, gives me that pipeline comparison. I can see it instantly. And that's what business intelligence is all about, enabling users, whoever they may be, with the right tools to do their job. The final piece I'd like to show in the enterprise business intelligence piece is now delivering it via mobile devices. I can deliver it via the iPhone, the iPad, Android devices, Blackberries. We've still got capability to deliver it via that. And just to give you a flavour of what it looks like there. What we're also seeing are people bringing their iPad devices to work. You know, I've got my iPad device at home. Company's not going to give me one. Oh, that's a shame. But I'm going to bring mine to work. I'm going to connect it up to the network. But I want to connect it up to the network and get my information in the most secure manner. So I don't want security compromised. And here's my iPad. Tools have been playing with it again. Put a picture on the background, some games on there. I want to use it for my work. We've got capabilities that secure the device. So if it does get lost, it can be wiped clean. More importantly, I want to access my business intelligence from here. So there's an app here. SAP BI Mobi, if you're on the iTunes store, search for it. It comes with some samples, just give you a flavour of what you can do with it. But with it here, I want to access that information. I've got a single area to access, a single app to access that information. And I want to look at some detailed information, drill down here to some customer analytics. I can do that, click, click, click. I can be offline, using it on the tube, but that can connect to the Wi-Fi. You know, I don't have to be connected to get that information. And if I want to collaborate with this and actually say, hold on, this isn't quite right. This profitability in one of the middle pieces has gone downhill. Something's happened here. Put some text in here. There we go, some management speak there. Click done, press email, take a snapshot of that and make sure that's actionable. So I'll now send that to myself, send it to my colleagues. Great thing is, if they haven't got that app, they just use the QR reader on there. It'll download the app, download the connection to where that is located on our network, and then enable me to use that report. So this is really actionable, what we call actionable BI. Taking it, adding context to it, and then using it for someone else to then take action upon that. And that's where we're going with this capability, making sure that people can access it wherever they are, have interaction wherever they are. That's not just a screenshot, that's a capability that I can go into and play around with, drill into and move the data about and look at that in a whole variety of ways. So I'm now going to move on to the area of business intelligence, understanding why did it happen. You know, the what happened was great, gave me some information. I was able to analyse that and look at different ways and, you know, play around with that data to an extent. But this is an area where I really want to get the detail. I want to use what we term agile visualization, or data discovery tools to get to that proverbial needle in a haystack. Really understand what's happened in that data. Now we've got capability here that can help users understand and see patterns within the data. Really make it easier for users to spot and discover insight and trends within that data. And that's very important because the picture of the brain here, you know, we know our sides of the brain are tuned for pictures and some parts of the other side of the brain is tuned for kind of the analysis, the analytical side. You know, it's true to say that people do see a lot more in pictures and can see graphically more trends and insight by doing it that way. That's what this capability is all about. So there are a certain set of users, a certain set of people in the organisation. You wouldn't necessarily want to give this to everyone. You don't want to defocus everyone in their job. for the other people in the organisation, those other reports are perfect. Exactly what I want to do my job, save me time. This is where those users want to use the magnifying glass of the data. Look at that and have that light bulb moment and go, wow, that is why we're increasing our sales. That is why, we're not getting to our customers the way we should be doing. So let's go and do a demonstration of that and show you exactly what I mean around that piece. So here I'm just showing a taste, a flavour. One of the capability in this area, I've got some data here, and I've opened up the tool. The data, it's pretty similar to that credit risk data I showed earlier, looking at, from a bank's perspective, the sectors that we're investing in, the sectors that we're lending out to, and countries we're lending to, and a date range on that. I can use this tool to look at this data in a whole variety of ways. I'm going to switch the view here and look at it so I can see just the unique references of the industry sectors, the risk references we've got, and the regions we've got in there. I can do things like right-click on the data and do what we call association analysis. It's probably not that clear on this pretty washed-out screen, but when I right-clicked on there, a number of these industries became highlighted. What it's saying is anything associated with risk 3, show me. Where that data association is, show me it instantly and quickly. And a quick right click shows me that capability. And I look at this data in a number of other ways. I can say actually sort that information, show that information not by the number of occurrences, but in this case, let me look at total lending outstanding by all my regions. And that actually might give me my answer. That's our lending for Oceania, North America, and Latin America. That's perfect, it's giving me some information. But it ain't very visual, and it's not quite where I wanted to go. So let's go into the visualization part of this. And it's this capability that enables me to spot more insight and trends in that data. So if I want to look at lending from a regional basis and a global basis by country, it's nice to look at the text, but why not show that on a map? So here I've got mapping capability where I can say, let's have a look at lending. Let's have a look at that by country. Okay, lending shown green as the highest isn't good, so let me just quickly change those colours. Lending at the highest end, I'm a bit concerned about that, so we'll show that in red. So I've got the capability to just tune the business intelligence to exactly to my needs. So I'm changing the colours now to lower lending, greener it is. And instantly it springs out. Higher lending in Americas, higher lending in Asia. I can see that a lot more clearer than I would have done in the figures. And that's just using a simple map technique. But this tool is packed with capability to visualize this in a whole variety of ways. I'll just add some more on this. Being able to trend my data, look at lending, look at that on a yearly basis, and then add in some predictive capabilities. So I know I've not touched on the predictive capability on such, but with this kind of data I want to look at a forecast, I want to look at trend analysis. Let's put a 5-year forecast on there. It might not have a lot of data, probably not a great amount of data there, but it starts to give me an impression of where we're going with the figures. Start to visualize this in different ways. I've got bubble chart capability where I can see, bubble charts have been around for years, new there. And I'm looking at my lending, my deposits, and the capital amount they're holding with us. Let's have a look at that by the different industries that we're investing in. So I can see here, semiconductors, high amount of deposits with us, high amount of lending, and a lot of capital amount. But how is that tracking over time? That's just showing me for everything, but I'd like to look at it for this year, previous years, and actually see that movement occurring as well. So in these tools, you've got animation capability. Well, I can say actually here, let's add a little line on there for year, and as I press the play button, it moves it across from year to year, animates it, so I can see the movement of the different sectors in the information and see how the sectors have improved or not improved during the course of that period. And it's now this capability that people are asking for, be able to see that movement a lot clearer than say flicking from one page to another page or filtering from last year to this year and trying to see where the difference actually is. This animation capability enables me to see that a lot clearer and a lot much more perspective. Let me show you kind of almost like a Blue Peter style what I did earlier. Some of the other animations and capability around that. And there's a lot of other stuff I can do with this. I can bring in more data. I can bring in data from Excel that I've played around with and mash it up with my corporate data. But also deliver a dashboard-esque views. So bring together kind of the maps, some of the bar charts, enable users to select here from the list, just look at the aerospace industry and change the views according to that. Have a more manageable view on that. So when I come to see that next month, yes, I've done that work to get it, but now I can see a much more kind of formal view that I'm more interested in. And now start moving the business intelligence into areas such as infographics. I don't know if you're aware of infographics, but it's this ability to kind of mash together pictures, icons, visual elements with information to make it more interesting, to make it more appealing, to make it more presentable to your audience. And how you're able to do that with these sort of capabilities. So here I'm looking at total deposits that's come from this system of this amount for the current year. And as I scroll down, showing me lending ratios, we've got some arrows showing in there, because when I then send this and show this to my users, we've uploaded it into a web area so my users can access it via their browser, other users access it via their iPad device. And that's great because we've then taken some discovery, shared it out with our user community, made it presentable, made it appealing, made it usable for those users so they'll always go back to it on a month, yearly, quarterly, whatever the time series is to get that information. So the final part I'd like to touch upon is in the area of what will happen. So this is the kind of the predictive or advanced analytics side of the product set. This is kind of taking your data, taking the information and getting a much deeper understanding so that you can understand the characteristics behind the data and use that to actually make your marketing campaigns better, make your costs, understand why those costs are happening in the industry, in the organisation. And it's like using this crystal ball, trying to understand what's going to happen in the future, using the past as your reference, using your past data the reference data to make that judgment on. And this can be used in many ways. We're not always talking about, I'd say, simple predictive, or generic predictive, which is, let's put a trend line through that time series data. Let's put a forecast on that data. Let's predict 6 months ahead what's going to happen. Well, that's showing some seasonal analysis. What we're talking about here is predictive capability that enables to look at the characteristics of our clients, the details about our clients, and understand why clients are leaving us. How can we market to our clients better? We've got all this information about our clients. What can we do with it to make our marketing campaigns more targeted, more relevant for them to then use our products? It's being used for things like preventative maintenance. If we can grab the characteristics about our machinery, about why things have gone wrong, there's a service gone down, we'll note that in our database. It went down at this time, it was using this operating system, this database, and a whole variety of other aspects and characteristics about that element. And if that happens again, is there a pattern emerging? That all those characteristics coming together, we reveal there's a real problem somewhere else down the line. And we're actually using this capability today in SAP. So we're using this tool that I'm going to show you in a moment to look at HR best practice, to understand the characteristics of employees. And when we move people internally throughout job promotions or job transfers, it's an expensive cost. We want to make sure this is as cost effective as possible. So what are the characteristics about movements that went wrong that we should be looking at? And it's more than just saying, well, there's the characteristics, go find it yourself. Yeah, that is like the needle in a haystack. Well, there's the haystack, the needle's in there, go find it. No, get the tools to do it for us. And Aviva have taken this on. They've got this capability. And I just want to show you a short video of the lady who actually runs this part of the Aviva, just explain to her how she uses it. So just a 3-minute video.
Aviva is the UK's largest general insurer. We operate in 15 countries with 31 million customers. And we have insurance products covering motor, home, life and health insurance. We use predictive analytics in order to spend our marketing budget wisely. It's all part of our package of optimising customer interactions. My role is to understand what campaigns worked well in the past and why. And in particular looking at the characteristics of people that meant that they did or did not respond to our campaigns. We can then target the best people in future campaigns. You can get 80% of the sales from only contacting 50% of the population. And I'm actually working on developing SAP Predictive Analytics in order to identify those people who we know will respond. In the past, it's been done very much on what the marketers think might be good. They use their gut feel. What we're trying to do is to put the evidence into that system and to say, well, because in the past this has happened, in the future we can do something better. So we can improve the success of our direct marketing campaigns using a proper multivariate model. And SAP's Predictive does that for us. So I'm a great fan of the product. It can be implemented almost instantly from the modelling stage. Because it is partially automated, it is very quick and easy to use. The actual modelling part of the whole project, after you prepare the data, takes half the time. You can press a button and you get it. There are other visualisation methods in SAP Predictive Analytics. It has automatic selection of the variables. You can start with hundreds, literally, and I have models that I'm working on at present which have 400 different variables for each person. Aviva has a lot of plans for the future, but I know that analytics are at the heart of them. And increasingly we're going into different markets. We have a big digital campaign, and analytics, it should be the hub, the centre of any marketing activity, and not just marketing. So the whole approach, which is let's target people on the basis of evidence, is generalisable, it can be extended anywhere. My name is Margaret Robbins. I'm an analyst at Aviva and I run SAP.
So there was a few key messages that came out of that, if you picked up on them, but they're using the analysis, the information about their customers, and for a particular customer, a particular person, you're saying there's 400 characteristics that they can work out about that person. And when we talk about characteristics, we're talking about things like gender, male, female, married, single, divorced, all that sort of information, income, and then expanding that even further. So they're looking at 400 different characteristics per person. And another thing to point out for that is, talk about the tool. I don't mean this to say a sales push around that, but get the tool to do it for you. Predictive has often been seen as a bit of a, use the word propeller head type exercise for data scientists, for people who have PhDs in mathematics to understand, and only those people can know and use that data to get the information out. No, it should be in the hands of the business user, the people in marketing, the people in sales. Give me, I've got the data, I know and understand the data, put it in the tool, get the tool to work it out for me. And that's where we're seeing predictive modelling and analysis. Yes, we have the data scientist capabilities, but there's also the need for marketeers like Margaret to do that work themselves and get the tools to do it for them. Now I'm going to show you a quick demonstration around this, just to kind of illustrate this. It's based upon insurance company and car accidents. I use this data because it's an easy one to get in terms of the concepts around this. And what I'd like to understand is what types of drivers are the most likely to have accidents in my data. So if I go to the tool, I'm going to bring in some data, and if I just quickly analyse and view that data, I will show in front of you I've got information about people who have had accidents for my insurance company. So the gender, the number of children, profession, whether they have multiple cars, the driving license, the number of years they've had the driving license, not they've got a driving license. Of course, we're assuming that. But the key thing about this is a bit of data at the end. So here, whether they had an accident or not. So I've got a few yeses in there. And of course, if you're going to do this, you've got to have the event that's actually happened to be able to then try and predict. Now, I'm just going to take these variables. I've just taken that one out because it's just the contract that they have with the company. It's a meaningless number. But I'm interested in these variables here. What are the key characteristics of a sudden person that's had an accident? You know, in terms of age, gender, children, type of car. You know, if I ask that to the audience, what do you think this will be? And it's not a trick question. My data will show something, and you know, but just for your idea, what do you think it's going to be? I think you've seen this now, haven't you? Yeah, that's what kind of I'm using as my hunch. And that's what we'll have as a bit of a hunch, you know, that kind of idea. And we do that in our data today. We look at our data and say, I've got a hunch about this. This tool will give you that confidence that hunch is in the data. And that's what I want to show in here. So let's go to the next bit and get it to do the hard work, the propeller head, the PhD in maths, the modelling behind that. It actually does that model about 8 times continuously till it gets to an optimum level, and then it says, you know what, I've had enough. This is as good as it's going to get with the data you've got. If I look at the results around that, I'm going to see the contribution to variables. Interesting. You know, the kind of the spit my words out here. The gender didn't come to the top there. But what has come to the top here is the number of children that person has. So if I drill into that, I can actually see on the x-axis here, people with no children, goes back to what you said, single person, there's a high propensity, a high score that that person, a high probability that person is going to have an accident. Someone with 4 children or more, a very low propensity that person can have an accident. And you know what? That other is people with 1 child, 2 or 3 children. There's no significance in that information. And the important thing is here, I didn't mess around that data and say, I'll group into people with no children, I'll group these people into 4+ children, and then I'll do the model. No, the tool has done it for me. And Margaret said it does things automatically. That's the sort of thing it does. It automatically groups my data to the relevant pieces that is interesting in my information. And if I look at car category, oh yes, it's a sports car. We know where we're going to here. It's the male sports car. Estate drivers out there, low propensity. Don't forget, this is the data that I've got. This isn't a fact. Don't go away from here saying, Dean Farrow showed me some insurance data, and this is fact. This is just my data and how I'm doing. And I can look at this in a number of ways. We've got this decision tree option where I can see the whole population, go into the most significant, well, the children. Oh, here, the children with 0. We'll go straight to gender. We'll miss out the car category. Definitely the man, 20% positive that they're going to have an accident. And it gives me insight that I wouldn't necessarily have seen if I just looked at the raw data. Even looking at the data graphically and visually wouldn't necessarily give me that. It's only by using a tool like this and just exploring the different characteristics in that data do I get that insight. And the great thing about this is I can start to play around with this and train the model to get better and better at this. So here I'm going to put in, 4+, saloon car, male, years driving license, 23 years. Let's play around with this. So this prescriptive analytics allows me to understand if I put in those variables, if I've got those variables in my systems, this is the score that will come out at those particular outcomes. Probability someone have an accident with those variables, 12%. Interesting. This is where it gets really interesting because once I've got that, I can say, take the model, take the code that is running that model, and here I can generate that. And more importantly, embed that inside the application and I'm using it. In this case, I've got a Java application. I'm going to embed this model inside. So when the data comes in and the Java application is being used, and my call center person picks up the phone, ooh, I can see the probability of the score of that person having an accident on the information I've currently got about that person. I can make judgments, information, product, advice straight away based upon that information. And we've embedded that, and we're able to embed that into the real-time operations of the system. And also into the real-time operations of the business intelligence capability. So here, I've got a report looking at customer analytics. Big problem with these ones, got a red dot. Must be a problem. So let's drill into those people and understand high attrition rates. Well, we've got some information about our customers, so let's understand and take one of those customers and using that model embedded inside my business intelligence. Again, I'm not a mathematician. I can scrape my GCSE in maths. This is something that I want pushed out to me. Here I can then recommend, based on the characteristics of that person, relevant customer offers. And that's been embedded inside me. Next best offer for this person might be a good chance that we could save that customer from going somewhere else. And that's where these predictive analytics and predictive models can really help. So to summarise, what I've shown you and talked about today is about business intelligence evolving. Organisations need to meet the needs of the users, and especially with users coming out of school, coming out of university, they expect iPad access, they expect being able to manipulate that data in a visual way. And it's about delivering that for the whole organisation. If you're ever going to have a chance of a single view for your organisation, then you need a single business intelligence tool to equip them with that. But there's one more thing as well. This wasn't me, wasn't a friend of mine. Tattoo artist, that's what he thinks, that's what he's done. And the point of this is have some advice, some consultancy, some partners to help you. It's all well and good me saying, yeah, it's all easy to do. I slice this over here and I create that visual over there. There's some hard work that has to be done at the connection to the database to fit this into the architectural strategy of your organisation. There's some advice, trusted advice, best practice that goes into that before you can do that. So always use SAP partners or consultants, trusted, registered consultants to do that. There's another comment as well I really like. Read a day, put out fires in the Iraqi conflict many years ago. And I like that. If you think it's expected to hire professionals to do the job, wait till they hire an amateur. So that's it. I'm afraid I'm going to have to cut short any questions because we are bang on time and I have got to go to a call at 1 o'clock. But I hope that was helpful, hope it was useful. If there's anything else you want to follow up, please go through Kirit and I'll be happy to one-to-one call, meetings or whatever it may be. Thank you.